let's play around with Bootstrap and some of the components that you'll need to build to make this look somewhat interesting. We'll look at Bootstrap cards, decks, lists. Yes. Yeah. No. Sure. Definitely. If you usually there's like 10 or 20% of folks that prefer to go with materials. If you want to try out materials, that's certainly a great place to take a look at some of those components instead. Yeah. So let's see. So we're going to be using cards. Cards in Bootstrap render as follows. If you go here to Bootstrap, get Bootstrap, and we look for cards. Cards allow you to combine some text with some image above it and some action items for you to ask for folks to do something interesting. And there's a snippet for cards. And what we're asking you to do is to represent, for instance, if you have many courses, or if you have, you can represent them as different, like in a grid, right? Where you have, for instance, Udemy does this, right? If you go to Udemy, represents multiple courses in a grid that you can go left and right. If you hover, it gives you some snippet, or you can ask it to represent it in a list instead, right? And you can toggle between the two. So we're asking you to just play around with some of those ideas, and so we can grab that snippet of code, and once we have that snippet of code, we can then just represent that card. And here we have an example of that, what that might look like. So let's create a brand new component, and we'll call it the course card component. We can just copy that, and if we go back to our IDE, we can create a brand new component. We say component, create a brand new JavaScript file, and this will be a course card JavaScript file, and we can just paste this. Right? Obviously, we need to load a couple of things that we don't have. We'll have to load import the React library. There we go. So notice that it was complaining. The other things here, we can make this look a little prettier. You have this top level div. We have this render here, right? And the render has a return. Notice the return has just this parentheses, right? And then the parentheses, we have the actual div that we are returning. We have the class, right? This class is straight from Bootstrap. We have the closing of this return. We have the closing of the render and the closing of the class. All right, excellent. The image, notice that I'm generating it with using a random generator, a random image generator at Picsum photos. You can say what size photo do you want, right? And it will randomly generate an image for you. So that's what I'm using for the top level of the card. Then I have some just dummy text for a header, some description of the course presumably, and then down below a clickable button, right? And we can see what this looks like. We can go into our whiteboard, and then in our whiteboard we can import our course. Right? We can say import our course card and render it right underneath. But before we do that, we need to put a top level div so that we can render not only the H1, but now we can render the course card. Yes? All right, so we go back to our rendering, our whiteboard. Notice that indeed we have our whiteboard with the image and some card title underneath. Everybody good? All right. Awesome. Let's keep at this. Let's take a look at the a couple more things that we might want to do. Right. So once we've loaded the course, we can grab a course card, and we can make a deck out of it, right? And the way we make a deck out of it, where do we have? Do we have Bootstrap here? We can grab that course card and just copy it multiple times. So grab the course card and just copy it multiple times, and it'll render somewhat weird at first, right? It'll render from top to bottom, but if you put in between if you surround this with a card deck, with a div that has a class name that says card deck, now it becomes a family of course cards. Hi everyone, Jose here. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like. If you're new here, please subscribe. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to leave a comment down below. Bye.